Welcome back to Fitness Manifesto. I am one of your hosts, Kim, and joining me is
Justin. Welcome to this new show that we've started, which focuses on life, awesomeness, friendship, and fitness as a whole. As we get started here, because we're gonna our subject today is gonna be pretty fun. You'll see this is gonna set us up
Justin,
perfectly. What?
All of our subjects are fun.
Oh,
You're
right.
delusional today.
Yesterday, your daughter, Abba, went out and got allergy testing, which is a great lead-in for our story today, or our subject. But tell me real briefly here, how did it go? Any new updates? Is she allergic to any new things or getting better? Or?
Oh my gosh, that child has my allergies. She's allergic to light. She gets it done every couple of years. And the doctor, we went in for our follow-ups because we both go to the same doctor. And he wanted to retest her, specifically some of her food allergies. I asked him at the time, I said, do I need to get retested? And he pulled up my chart and he goes, no, you're not going to get any better. He goes, you're allergic to everything. And that's not going to go away. I was like, oh, great. Because last time I went in to get tested, they had to stop me early. And I am an asthmatic. I had reacted so bad that they had to wipe my back. They had to give me a prednisone to not send me into an asthma attack because they do it on your forearms for the adult. And I was so itchy and it just started swelling. So with Abba yesterday, they do it on their back. Yeah. And I was sitting there, and from the second that they did it, she's like, Mom, it itches so bad, so bad. And she was itching. So I would just blow on her back. And then I was getting really lightheaded. So I had a piece of paper and I was just waving it over it. I was taking pictures in the beginning, to the middle, and to the end. The nurse opened the door and she's like, how is she doing? Before her time was even up, and went, oh my gosh, I'm going to go get my supervisor. And they went and got her. They stopped her early before her timer even went off. She reacted so bad to everything. And as far as the food allergies go, she is not allergic to shellfish. Ted, within the last 5 years, he developed an allergy to shellfish. He was eating at a restaurant and he likes that kind of stuff. And he was like, something felt like it was in his throat and he felt like he was going to throw up, and he went to the bathroom and he puked everywhere. And then he had to get Benadryl. He had a reaction to it. So we got her tested for shellfish, and she is not allergic to that, which is shocking because she's allergic to everything else. We got her tested for hazelnut because she used to be able to eat Nutella like it was going out of style when she was little. She is allergic to that.
So Did they have an explanation as to why that? Because I'm always fascinated, like why that changed. I always assumed that if you could, why would it? Now you couldn't. Did something change? Did they say anything or?
No, she ate all of that when she was little, and everybody's like, oh, you didn't eat that stuff when you were pregnant. I did. Peanuts. Reese's peanut butter cups are my favorite.
Heaven. Yes.
Yes. But my dad, when he was younger, he's allergic to all the environmental stuff like me, but he was also allergic to like regular cow's milk. So he had to drink like goat's milk. I'll show you a picture of her back. It was pretty crazy how quickly. And even this morning, the spots that she's really allergic to, she goes, Mom, it itches so bad. So I was rubbing hydrocortisone cream on it this morning, and she's trying to itch it. She's highly, highly allergic to oak. That was one of her biggest allergens, environmental allergens.
Wow. Well, when my son did his allergy testing probably 3 years ago, something like that, I took him, and it was so funny because I try not to laugh. And apparently no one else thinks this is funny, but he came back and they were like, he's allergic to trees. And I'm like, hang on, all trees? What does that even mean? Like, can you specifically nail it down? They're like, no, he's just allergic to trees. I'm like, how the hell are you allergic to every tree on the planet?
Did they break it down? Because they can break it down.
No.
So individual trees.
They did the lines in his back, like a square kind of thing where there was like 5 and then there's like 3 rows or whatever. I don't remember the specifics of it, but I just remember the results afterward. Highlights, typical stuff like, grasses and that kind of thing, like, certain types of grasses. And it just said trees. And I couldn't start laughing. Nature hates you, buddy.
Well, they could break it down and they could really tell you what tree you're allergic to. Because everybody always asks, do you have allergies? I'm like, yeah, environmental. Well, what are you allergic to? Look outside. If it grows, we're allergic to it.
Oh, well, all right. So let's lead in here to this, because today's subject I'm really excited about, because it's one of those things that we've talked about, we've hinted at, and we all know it's important, but let's talk about how can we get in nature more? How can we enjoy the outdoors more? What can we do to, especially this time of year, like we were talking before we came on, and I think you said the outside temperature was 69. It feels so much warmer than that. Like it feels like 74.
Now it says 70. Now I'll tell you the real temperature. Well, you know what the app says, not my watch.
Okay.
It says 73, but it feels like 86. I disagree with that. But the humidity
80s.
is only at 67%.
And for us,
I mean,
that's very low.
yes, it's perfect outside. And neither of us are like in long sleeves. You're usually in long sleeves because you're kind of a wussy when it comes to cooler weather.
I don't shy away from it. I'm a total, complete
Very
temperature
much.
wuss. I want to lead in with a different story here, and let's talk about going outdoors. So there's this new special on Disney Plus that had Bono and The Edge from U2 interviewed by David Letterman. And you're going, well, how does that have to relate to this? Let me tell you. So basically, they have this area called 40 Foot, and it's a really neat area. I've been to Dublin many times. I've never seen this area. I want to go back. Basically, it's where the sea and the river combine, and it creates some fairly big waves. But basically, it's like a cathartic experience where people go in and they swim any time of year, and the ocean there is just miserably cold. And at the end of this special, so this is a spoiler for everybody, David Letterman goes in the water and floats for a while. And his experience, he comes out of it and says how amazing it was, a life-changing experience because of what he did. And it really hit home. And that's kind of why I pitched this idea to you yesterday, because I forgot being uncomfortable in those situations where it sounds miserable to be in that kind of environment can be incredibly relieving and life-changing.
Yep. I'm glad you
High five to us.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
But it's true. And it just made me think about it, because I think we always talk about going to nature. We talk about the importance of it. We talk about being outside, but we don't do it as much as we should. And it's funny because like this weekend, we went to State Park on Sunday, or no, Monday, sorry. Monday we had off. I worked for a bit in the morning and we went out. It was amazing. It was like empty. It was dead. When we came back and everyone's like, oh, we're so bored. We're home. I'm like, why didn't you go get outside, go on a walk, do something? Because I don't know. It was beautiful.
It's not too hot and it's not too cold. And your daughter swam yesterday. Abba wanted to swim the other day and I was like, I'm not getting in that water with you. And it was already like 5:30 on Sunday night. I think it was Sunday night. And I was like, no. Because I mean, the temperature of the pool is 73 or 4.
About ours. And I'll tell you.
Is that too cold?
Actually, I can swim in that. It's not miserable to me. I used to be in 50-degree water in California. Now, when it's not warm out, though, because like for the last week or so, there's been no sun. We just got the sun last couple of days. I would go in today, no issue.
Well, see, and I told Abba that. I'm like, it is cloudy out. There is no sun shining. And the temperature outside it's a little chilly. It's different to go into that water and then step out and it's like 90 degrees outside with full sun. But to basically get in water that is the same temperature as it is outside with cloud cover,
it's not ideal.
No thanks. No.
So,
but that just shows you that the kids will get in and play and love it and be okay. Maybe as we grow up, I would say we'd get smarter when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I don't think that's the case.
I was gonna say, I think we get dumber actually.
Yeah.
I think we get in our heads too much, right? Because what changes in us that we don't do that stuff anymore? It's so weird because I still enjoy doing that stuff.
Yeah, because we definitely don't get smarter. I just know it's cold and I'm not interested. And the kids are like, I don't care, I'll get in. And I'm like, I don't want to get in with you.
We lose that zest, that fun aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
That spark or whatever. Because it's fun. I mean, they love it. And like Abba, I'm sure even after you convinced her not to do it, she was still like, Mom. You know?
Oh no, I didn't convince her. I didn't convince her of anything. I said, we're not doing this. And she was like, but she didn't cross her arms or anything, but she didn't understand why. When I was like, well, first off, it's late. And all I can think is I'm going to need to either fire up the hot tub and sit in it as you get out of the pool. You know, that's what the temperature is like. When you get out, you got to get in the hot tub just to warm up to get out, because the temperature outside isn't, I mean, it's warm, like it's perfect, but
it's not warm enough.
It's not pool weather yet.
No, we're getting really close though. The amount of stuff we've been through already in the first 4 months of this year is overwhelming. The time has flown by. It's such a weird, strange time. And I think that's why being outside is so important right now. What is something that you do that you love doing outside? Like for instance, I think for both of us, recording outside is a pretty cool experience.
Yes. Well, and even if it's cold outside, I just the sunlight and just to sit out here when it's beautiful. I love it. And actually, whenever it warms up a little bit more, I get up and do my Bible study outside. And honestly, a lot of the times I'm up, a little after 4 o'clock and I come out here and it's pitch black out. I turn my lights on and
Wait, hang on for a second.
so
Did you
peaceful.
say 4 a.m.? So
Yep.
I did not know this about you. Do you usually get up around 4?
Well, it depends. I don't set an alarm or anything, but I always say God wakes me up, and I get up and I go do my Bible study outside, and it's just to watch the sun come up is incredible.
I agree with you on that. I mean, wow. 4 a.m. to me is, I can do it. I did it for a long time, especially when I was commuting downtown, but I mean, it's not something that I enjoy. To me, 5 to 5:30 is that like magic for me.
I don't think so, because that's more time alone that I get to read for one, but without distractions. I know at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, my phone's not going to be going off. Nothing's going to be blowing me up at that time. There's nobody stirring. Usually TJ is like clockwork. He will come out and he'll kick the light on. 6 o'clock, he'll kick the kitchen light on. So I know if I'm up that early, I've got a little bit of time where I can read.
Now, I'm always up that early reading my Bible too. So
Do not mock, Justin.
I'm not mocking. I'm just giving different perspective here, because for me,
You're sleeping.
no. So when I get up at that point in time, my favorite thing to do is make some tea, come out, and I'll usually meditate during that time, which is similar to what you're doing in that regard. And for me, one of my favorite things, if I can actually get myself to do this, is we have a lake, I mean, right around the corner from us. And I love to go out there. I'll take a little tumbler of tea, whatever, and sit on the edge, because the sun comes up right at the tip of it. And it's fun to watch it. That is a really cool experience. I will totally.
Is this the lake that you saw the alligator at?
No, it's weird. When we first moved here, we had 2 alligators in our pond, and then they stopped one year, and I don't know where they went. But at this one actually very rarely gets alligators, but the other ones, I mean, they're loaded with them, like loaded.
Do you think they relocated them?
No, they weren't big enough. These were like real small. They were like 3 and 4 footers. So my understanding is if they're over 8 feet.
Whenever it rains and starts flooding, the alligators walking across the street.
During summer here, actually, they will cross sometimes, even when it's not flooded. I don't know why, but they'll do that. And I have to say that is a great experience. It looks like a dinosaur. Just like, I love how they look so slow, and then you get close and they can freaking dart.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like they can move. It's pretty crazy.
It's no joke. Like
TJ, they did prom last year. Was it last year? No, it must have been 2 years ago. They took pictures and they were standing on a bridge, and behind them in the water, you could see that alligator swimming towards them. And it's funny because it reminds me of the alligator on Peter Pan.
That is a great, yes. And the funny part is there's one towards the front. The neighbor has a name for him. I can't remember. It's something like Grumpy or whatever, but he's like a 10 footer. I mean, he's a huge alligator, and he'll get out of the water and you can just tell he's totally like the Peter Pan. Like, if you come near me, yeah, I'll attack. But other than that, just leave me alone. I leave you alone, and he'll lay out. And look, I mean, they're huge.
He didn't swallow a clock, so you can't hear him. Tick, tock, tick.
Well,
tock.
I like to think in my mind, and I'm sure someone's going to comment, where else do you think? All right, good point.
Don't ask.
Don't ask, please. That's a totally different podcast.
Yes, it is.
There's some little magic there that maybe he did swallow it, and if you get close enough, you can hear it, but I don't want to get that close, But I think that little nostalgia is fun.
And Ted went fishing one time with some of his friends. Well, they were our neighbors around here. I don't even remember where they went. And there was a guy walking by, and he goes, "Hey, watch out for that alligator sitting there." And it was literally by them, and they didn't even see it. They're like, "Holy cow!" They're glad that he said something.
Yeah.
Imagine that. He should have had that clock in him. See?
So I totally agree. Being outside in general is important. I notice I also just feel better being outside, right? Like, I feel less stressed. I feel more at ease. I love being able to look out and see the trees and the grass and everything else like that. There's something very soothing about that. It's funny because I have a client of mine that recently was told to go back to the office, and she quit. And
okay.
She just was like, no, my quality of life and everything has changed so much that I'm not going to go back. And it was very interesting because what she said was, when she used to go in, she had like on the 30th floor or whatever, she would look out, and all she saw was, it made her stressed because like she'd look out and it felt like endless, just people. Like, it just felt like it never went anywhere. She said she comes outside in her backyard, and now she's got this whole forest in her backyard. She can just sit out there. And
beautiful.
That's the point. And I'm like, it's funny because I get kind of upset at these companies that are mandating people go back and stuff like that, because we're getting slightly off subject, but just from the standpoint of the mental health and all that kind of stuff, yes, you should be around people. That's totally true. But also between the commutes, which are horrible for you, mandating anything to people, it causes stress. I don't know. I think it's the wrong thing to do.
Abigail and I bike to school. Even when it's cold, I say bundle up, let's go. Even if it's spitting water, if it's drizzling, we're going to ride. She's not going to melt. It's as simple as that. Now, if it's downpouring, no, she's not going to be riding because I don't want her to be miserable all day. But this morning, riding back, I looked down at, the ravines that have a little bit of water in it, and all these turtles are sitting out sunbathing. And you can tell it's getting to that time of year. You start to itch to be out more, to be out in the sun. I'll tell you, I can't wait to get out and get a suntan. So I wore shorts the other day and was like, blinded. And people, when it starts getting cold, it's almost like they barricade themselves inside instead of still going for a walk or spending time outside. But they put the 2 and 2 together that it's cold, so you got to go inside. And that's not the case.
No, I think you're 100% right. And I think just watching you even light up, part of the thing that I love being outside is I do love the nature aspect of it. The other day, I was cleaning out the filter in the pool, the main filter, and I looked over and there was like this big, this little tiny baby bunny that was just staring at me. And I was like, holy crap, that's the cutest thing I've ever seen. And it was just staring at me. And then I looked away and of course it, bounced off because it was like, oh shit, I gotta get away. But it's those little moments that I think we forget sometimes until they happen, how awesome those things are. Like this morning, I don't know, an hour or two ago, you texted me that video of your friend that's back. And it's cool.
You want to know what it is?
What is it?
It's the female cardinal. For those who didn't watch last week's podcast, you will understand if you go back and see my friend is sitting right here on the fence. We have a cardinal that comes every year, and then we have this other bird that comes and he pecks at our windows. I don't know what it is, but every spring he is back. And so I showed my mom the picture and she goes, Kim, I think that's a female cardinal. So I looked it up and 100% is, and they go everywhere together.
That's cool. So do they mate for life? Are they those kind of birds?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. But I know every day, every morning, she comes and pecks at our bedroom window, which is the video that I sent you. She's up there like chewing it out or something. And she'll sit there and peck at it and bounce from window to window and talk to it. And yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Just even that experience, doesn't it make you just feel different? Like, I don't know if it's more connected or whatever it is, but doesn't it make you just feel different, better in a better way?
I love it.
Yeah,
and honestly, I put my hummingbird feeder out yesterday. The hummingbirds are getting ready to migrate through to head back north. And I can't wait because we watch them. My husband's like, Kim, it's a bird. I'm like, but I love watching them. And they chase each other. And there's always a bully in the group that will chase the other ones away. I love watching them. So I put my feeder out yesterday because it's getting to be that time and the perfect temperature and people are already seeing them. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. It's the little things in life, right?
It is. And I think that that's one of those things that most people don't appreciate enough until they do it more of it. Like yesterday, Bailey, it was garbage day here. So I had her take the garbage cans out front and she just like disappeared for a minute. I'm like, what the heck happened to Bailey? She was climbing one of our front trees and just hanging out on one of the branches out there and just sitting in there. And what a cool experience. Like, just seeing the joy that it brought her. She just climbed up the branch and was just literally laying on the tree, just hanging out there. I'm like, Bailey, what are you doing? And she's like, like, I don't know. And there was something special about that. And I think the more we are around that, I just think it's very, very special. And the more you get out to enjoy those things, I think it really adds to happiness.
I remember back in the day, we played outside. We weren't inside. And of course, in Wyoming, if it was blowing tons of snow and below zero, we would bundle up and we would go outside and play in the snow and we would make snowmen. And we've tried to make a couple igloos and, burrow down in the snow. It was a lot of fun. But during summertime, it was, you're outside, you're not inside. You can come back in when the street lights come on. And we would be everywhere. We'd be on our bikes. We would be skating. It was a different time than what it is now. Now, you tell your kid, shut up your device and go outside. What? But this person's online. I'm not going to be able to play with them. And go, and it's a battle.
It totally is. Like, so, I mean, first of all, I wanted to be like, I think we should go get our canes and sit on the front porch and tell more of these stories because I'm feeling old telling these. But thinking about that experience. So on Sunday, I said, no electronics. It's Easter. Let's just go. We're going to go to brunch. We're going to just chill as a family. And Seth threw an absolute hissy fit. He's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive without a phone? I'm like, what do you mean? What are you going to do? Do you remember you only got a phone? What, maybe last year, the year before? Like, what did you do before then? He's like, I don't know. You forget those little things. You can live without it. It really, it's going to be okay.
When you say he's got a phone, does it actually have a phone number connected to it?
Yes.
Does he play games and stuff on it?
We restrict what he can play on there. He plays online chess with his friends. He plays Wordle, that kind of stuff. But the thing that I do not like that he does, he's always sending videos and stuff from YouTube. We took TikTok off, which was good, but it disturbs me how much he uses YouTube in particular to get news. He'll report all these things. And I'm like, Seth, I don't mind that you're doing it, but like, let's another source is always good. When I was a kid, we were outside all the time, literally, like you.
You didn't have devices.
No. And the only thing I do remember that my mom was religious about, and I thank her so much for this, is, I mean, I hated it, but thank God she did it. She would lather us in sunscreen. So like we could not go anywhere outside without sunscreen. That's the only thing I truly remember. But aside from that, like we were on our own. Like we wanted to go to the pool, go to the pool. If you want to go to the ocean, go to the ocean. If you're going to go outside, you go outside. It's funny because like even when the kids are playing out front, you've been in my house, I've been in your house. They're both very nice, calm neighborhoods. Kelly will sit out front. My mom never did that. My mom was inside doing her thing. She was writing or making dinner or, I don't know, talking to friends, whatever. She never was outside watching us religiously. Kelly is, no, something's going to happen. I'm like, you kind of need a little bit of distance here. You got to have a little bit of space.
But times have changed because with Abba, I do the same thing. I sit out there. Another mom is usually out there with her kids and I'll go talk to her, which is great.
That's fun.
With TJ, I was never outside with TJ, but TJ, he was a boy for one.
That makes a difference.
I mean, they would get on their bikes and they would go ride these paths and stuff. Even from when T was little to now has changed so much. But even TJ growing up, he lost his device.
You mean like he actually lost or you took it away?
We took it away.
Okay.
He physically obsessed about it. And that's all he would talk about is these games. He wasn't doing anything in real life. So he lost a device when he was probably a second grader, I would say, entirely. He didn't get it at all.
Are you talking like an iPad? Or okay.
And then when he started going to school, they would be like, bring your devices to school, which that's another topic of conversation. So when he started actually biking a ways away from school or from the house, I would bike with him just to time it out. So I knew how long it took him from point A to point B. And then I would make him ride next to the main road. I'm like, if something happens, I want somebody to have eyes on you because he didn't have a device. Instead of cutting through the back pass, behind the neighborhood, he would ride the main road. And sometimes his friends would do it, but other times they wouldn't. It came to the point that they were out biking all the time. He needed a device. We got him a phone, connected with a phone number, and it was the dumbest smartphone you could ever find. He literally should have just had a flip phone. He could not do anything on it. No social media was allowed. And still to this day, he has to ask permission to download apps to his phone. The restrictions were so high, he couldn't even access the internet, nothing. He could literally call and text. He couldn't change anything because of what he had gotten himself into and the reason that he lost it. Of course, we gave it back. He's in high school. It won our trust back and he's done a lot better. But
I think part of the joy of being outside and doing these things is that you can be yourself and you can get out there and enjoy it. And it's like Seth, when he's not on his phone, is a different person. I think that that's helped me realize that I need to disconnect more and I need to separate more because I see what it does to him. Kelly is probably the funniest person on her phone ever because literally she wakes up 5:30, her phone is on. She goes to bed. It's the last thing she turns off. And I'm always like, Kel, this is not healthy. She's like, just, I'm like, all right, I'm fine.
You do you, Justin.
That's pretty much what it is. And I'm just like, all right, fine. I have noticed though, like she goes through these periods where she's like, okay, we're going to do from 7 o'clock, like you do on until 7 a.m, no electronics. I'm like, perfect. Let's try it. A week or two. And then it folds back, it's too much of an addiction thing. And so I think getting away today, like even this little breeze, sitting out here looking around, there's just something really special about it. Like I went this morning on I didn't actually work out this morning. I went on a walk around the lake just because I woke up later today and needed to get started. And even that alone, it put me in a great mindset to be ready for today.
You got out and you got to clear your mind and you got to just look around. You didn't have anything in your face. I still think that's good, just to go for a little walk.
One of the things that I found over time too, though, is before I would wear my headset and I'd listen to things, and I'm like, I think it's important to totally disconnect now, just to enjoy, listen to the sounds around me, pay attention to what's out there, like really get my head in the moment.
You thought it through so much that you don't even wear your Apple Watch.
No, that disassociation, because before I was totally, I mean, my phone, everything was linked. I found myself the minute, because I gave it up probably October, November or something last year, probably somewhere in there.
You got frustrated because it misread one of your workouts. So
Yes.
You were done with it. You put it away. And I was like, wait a minute. But like, if I text you, I have to wait for you to go to your phone.
But I'm still pretty fast. Still pretty fast.
No, you're not.
All right. All right. Fair enough. So like, but you also mentioned something that I don't do enough of as well. Just taking a little step to like bike to school. That is also not only an experience you get to share with your daughter. It's kind of a bonding moment, but it's also that you're not in the flow of all the traffic. You're doing your own thing. And that's, again, a way to get out, I think.
I hate the car rider line. Even when TJ was little, I had a bike carrier that I would put Abigail in, and we would go. And I'd ride with him. I'd put her in there even when it was chilly. She'd have a sweater on. I'd give her a blanket. She had some of her toys, and we would go.
I used to love that.
Yeah,
load them up with a little beanie on their head, put like 4 blankets in there. Yeah, I love doing that.
I am not a car rider person.
I'm not going to lie. Today I was a car rider line because I was running way behind and I did it. And the kids were so funny. They're like, can we please ride bikes? I'm like, unfortunately, guys, we'll actually be late to school. And they're like, well, is that on us or is that on you, Dad? I'm like, oh, burn.
How excited are you to start swimming in your pool?
Incredibly. That to me is I guess that's like I'm trying to think how to say it. That's the signature of summer to me. When I'm able to hit that pool, there's something about that says, okay, this is different. We're good.
Are your kids in there as much as you are?
Actually, probably quite a bit more, especially when summertime actually hits.
Okay. I feel like last year, Ted and I were in the pool more than our children. Well, TJ's too cool for us. So, I mean, if his friends are over, they'll swim. But for the most part, I was like, I just don't want to. And I'm like, what? So Ted and I would be out in the swimming pool. And there were even times that he was working and I would sneak out and put my big floaty in and I'd be floating on top and he'd walk out and stand over top of me. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yep. And then he would come jump in and then he'd get like a work call and he'd be like, I am currently in the middle of my pool right now.
But see, I think we need more of that though. Like that is the stuff that, I don't know. I think that's important. Those little connection points. And I love when you get on meetings like that, because I have one of my best friends, Eric, will take almost all calls in the summer, lives in Marina Del Rey, in his pool.
I mean, why not?
Cover. And you'll see him on Zoom and he's like, and he always introduced himself. He's like, yeah, I'm just letting you know I'm in my pool. And everyone's just like, they're all jealous. No one ever says, how can you do this? They're all jealous. And I think that should tell you everything you need to know about, we should all be doing more of that, not less of it.
Yep, it's true. Just get outside. Enjoy it.
Find something that you enjoy. One of my friends here gets really annoyed because when summertime rolls around, he's very obnoxious because he's like, I have to start running. But I'm like, you don't like running. He's like, but this is my running time. And I'm like,
but
there's
why?
a million other things you could do. Why run?
Why run in the heat of summer when you could run when it is cooler outside for one?
I don't even get into him anymore. I don't even talk about it. It gets so frustrating.
That doesn't make sense.
He's done it for like 5 years now. And it's just his summer thing. He starts around, I think May 1st or June 1st, one of those days are his cutoff. And he literally doesn't run any other time until like August. And then he's done and he's miserable. Like he's always complaining.
Because it's like 120 degrees outside. That doesn't make any sense.
Like the part that gets me is it's less the heat. It's just that humidity is so thick that
it is.
Running in that is not great. Again, if you live somewhere with extreme temperatures where you've got crazy cold winters or incredibly hot summers, enjoy the points. If you like those, then enjoy those more. But if you're in those sweet spots, especially in spring and fall or whatever, enjoy those. Embrace those moments because
it's beautiful.
I just freaking love it. And we'll have to see if we can record in July, though. I don't know if we'll be outside in July recording.
We'll be like dripping sweat. When we recorded with Mike, if you remember correctly, there was something that we talked about that we were going to challenge each other to do. Do you remember?
You mean the no sunglasses?
I think we're coming up on perfect timing. It is getting warm outside. The sun is out. So, Justin, because I know you're dreading this as much as I am, what would you say if we stopped wearing sunglasses to do exactly what Mike said, to let our eyes adjust to not wearing them to see, I guess, if it's right?
So I'm not going to lie. This is the least excited I've been about a challenge. Okay. But I accept the challenge. I think we do need to do it. Absolutely. I can feel myself squinting already just at the thought of it.
That's funny because I'm doing the same thing.
You've thrown the gauntlet down. I take your challenge or the
Okay.
challenge.
Okay. I don't remember how many days he said, but we've got to find out for sure how many days it takes to adjust your eyes. We are going to hit that mark and then we are going to surpass it without wearing sunglasses. But how far past do we take it?
I think we gauge it on how we feel. So if it is working, we adapt to it. I don't know. If it's not, I think it's fair. Let's give it its shake. Let's give it its moment. See if it works. Part of me says he's got to be somewhat right because up until, I don't know, the last 200 years, maybe there were no sunglasses. Like there wasn't such a thing as sunglasses. So, all right.
Well, and it's funny because like if you go to the eye doctor, they highly, highly discourage something like this.
Not only discourage, vehemently against. So
very, very much.
For all our ophthalmologists out there, we know you're trying to do the right thing. So are we. So we'll report back. If we both come back with cataracts, you guys have more business. So it's a win-win, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we will report back on how it's going and let you guys know. And as we wrap up here, I just want to say to everyone, a lot's going on. Times are crazy. One way to help stay sane and in it and present is to get outdoors more and enjoy the season.
Yes. Step outside. Even if your time is limited, go for a short walk. Enjoy the fresh air. Enjoy the cooler weather, not having to bundle up in a sweater and sweatpants. But I mean, enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the little things in life, because something as simple as a hummingbird can put a smile on your face, or seeing the turtles out sunbathing. You know, the seasons are changing. Enjoy it and take the time, because if not, you're going to blink and miss it. And life is too short for that.
And that concludes today's episode of the Fitness
Manifesto. I know you guys enjoyed it.
And Kim, I want to say thank you to you and to our audience for making this podcast what it is.
Yes, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys.
And stay tuned for the next episode.